Am I the jerk for telling my partner I don't want to watch their videos? Am I the asshole for getting annoyed when my boyfriend wants me to watch his videos? My boyfriend and I have been together for almost a year. We both have different tastes in videos and things we watch on our phones or do in our free time. My boyfriend loves professional sports and watching YouTube recaps of certain players or things like that. It is not my thing, but sometimes I humor him and watch a few minutes. Multiple times a week he will put something on, like a YouTube video of some player's highlights or an Instagram reel, and tell me that I absolutely need to watch it. I have been in the middle of texting my sister, and he forces me to put my phone down and watch whatever he has on the television. Sometimes I just want to read a book or watch my own show on my phone, but he tells me I am not showing any interest in his likes and hobbies. Some of these videos are over 20 minutes. I have told him many times that I do not like being forced to watch videos. I am completely okay with him watching them. I'm happy to put on my headphones and do my own thing. I would be very happy to watch a show together, one that we are mutually interested in. I have said this to him multiple times. He gets mad to the point of yelling sometimes when I do not want to watch something he shoves in front of my face. I am at the point where instantly when he starts putting his phone in my face, I get annoyed. This upsets him and makes him think I am not interested in any of his hobbies. I have plenty of my own interests and hobbies, though I have never forced him to partake or watch anything. I once turned on the league because he told me I could pick a show. Within minutes, he got angry and said he refused to watch this preppy guy show. Since then, I have never made him watch anything. If he is not into it, I accept it and move on or pick something we will both like. He keeps saying I am being dramatic because I do not want to watch his videos, but it is just not how I want to spend my free time. I am really starting to think I am the asshole here. You are not the cause of this issue. His behavior is baffling and childish. Constantly making you watch videos, even after you've explicitly said I do not like to do this, is just insufferable. It's not like he even made the videos, so his obnoxiousness and ignoring your feelings is really selfish. A year of someone forcing you to watch videos that do not interest you is maybe enough? Am I the jerk for making my sibling buy their own food? I, a 21-year-old male, still live with my parents and some of my siblings. My oldest brother Daniel, a 29-year-old male, is on the spectrum. My mom often asks for help to take care of him. The only problem is Daniel is very high functioning. He has a license and a car, and he has the mental capacity to live on his own. My parents just coddle him and treat him like a child. He lives in the house, and he does not help with the chores whatsoever. He consumes all the food in the house, and then asks us to buy him food at his age. He will not replace the groceries, so I use my money that I need for the car note and bills to help around the house. He does not have a job either, so he stays at home doing this all day. My youngest brother, Chris, a 17-year-old male, and I do the bulk of the dirty work. Our mother will ask us to buy Daniel food despite him having a car. One day our mother asked us to buy Daniel food while Chris and I were both at work. We both work at restaurants, so she thinks we can just walk out with food, but we have to pay for it. I asked her why Daniel could not get his own food, and she said that he did not have any money. I told her she should send him some money or I would do it, but she insisted that we do as she asked. I told her I made no promises. I got off work at 10:25 p.m., and Chris texted me that he was off too, and he was ready to be picked up. I drove over to his job and got out of the car, only to find out that Daniel and Chris had been going back and forth on the phone for 7 minutes about Chris telling Daniel to send him money because he could not afford to buy Daniel food. Daniel personally went to Chris to ask for this since he is young. I immediately called Daniel to tell him that Chris is only 17 and he is not entitled to buy a grown man food. Daniel said that we were both disrespectful and he was going to tell mom on us. Mind you, he is almost 30, snitching to his mother. I told Daniel to get a job, move out of the house, and stop blaming his condition for everything. Daniel was fuming, and then I told him that if he was going to act like that, he could get his own food. I told my mother that we were not buying a 29-year-old man food because he was too lazy to get it himself. She sent Daniel some money and then called me on the phone, crying, saying we were making her life harder and we were both being the antagonists. Chris is a 17-year-old boy, and I work 50 hours a week at 21. We should not be entitled to buy him food when he is perfectly capable of doing it himself. It is even worse that he is expecting it from us now. Am I the antagonist? You are not in the wrong here. A 21-year-old and a 17-year-old having to take care of a 29-year-old isn't normal. Daniel should have a job, be paying rent, buying his own groceries and doing chores around the house. Move out and take Chris with you. Leave your mom and brother to their own devices. Am I the jerk for refusing to talk to my divorced parent? She got pregnant again after having me and had a girl. 2 years later, she had a boy. I'm not going to say their real names for privacy reasons, but let's just call them Eric and Luna. My dad later told us that we had to move due to his job, so we went to South Africa. Here's when my mom began to get worse. A lot happened here, but needless to say, my dad eventually divorced my mom because she kept neglecting us. Moving forward, my dad won custody, and my 4 siblings and I are currently living with him as he married our current stepmom. Whenever we visit mom, she tries to tell us things that aren't true. My younger siblings believe her since they're just children who aren't even teenagers yet. I had my suspicions about her words, so I didn't pay much attention. The last time we visited her, she kicked me out of the apartment. Why? Simple. I told her that our visit was over and we needed to go back to South Africa. She kicked me out and locked herself and my siblings inside with her. Thankfully, I had my stuff ready, but my suitcase was still inside, so all I had was a phone, my charger, and my shoes. I called Dad and asked him to pick me up. It's been 15 days, and my mom didn't even think about contacting me, but we managed to get 2 of my sisters back, Jasmine, who is 10 years old and female, and Claire, who is 6 years old and female. In the car, Jasmine was crying because she was scared of Mom. Claire tried to calm her down but ended up crying as well. Only my stepmom could calm both of them down, while my dad and I tried reasoning with Luna, who is 13 years old and female, and Eric, who is 11 years old and male. They said that they wanted to live with Mom. Eric was not taking the situation seriously, and I gave up on him. They eventually came back. They had learned a tough lesson, but at least now they know that living with Mom is not good for them in the slightest. The most recent call I got from her was yesterday. She called, and I answered, "What?" She instantly got mad at me and said, "What? What do you mean, what? I am your mother. You do not give me that attitude. Give me your siblings now. I want to talk with them." I gave her Luna first. Luna gave the phone to Eric, then it got passed to Claire after a few minutes. Jasmine never took the phone since she refused to talk to Mom after what happened last time we visited. When the phone got passed back to me, I asked her what her problem was, and she said, "It's none of your business. I do not want to talk to you." So I replied, "Okay, then don't call my fucking number again," then hung up and blocked her number. You are not in the wrong here. She sounds dangerous to be around, and it's important to set fair and healthy boundaries. Your mother does not sound like a very stable person and may even be an abusive one, so it's understandable if you don't want to deal with her. Hopefully, you are doing well with your father and stepmother, who can be there for you when needed. Let's hope she gets help for whatever is causing her behavior, but remember, only she can decide to do that. Am I the jerk for telling someone that I would never let any of my friends date him? Am I the jerk? My ethnic background gets fetishized by white men a lot. I have an acquaintance in grad school that I am friendly with, but we basically see each other 5 times a week. We have mutual friends, so sometimes we spend time together outside of class in group settings. I normally avoid talking to him one-on-one because he comes off as an entitled man, and I don't really like his sense of humor. I think he pokes fun at a lot of things he shouldn't have a say in, making borderline homophobic jokes before he found out I am gay. He also has a history of having problems with our women professors, which our mutual friends have pointed out. He is a white male in his late 20s. Since we've known each other, he has made it apparent that he is attracted to people of my ethnic background without prompt, without me asking. I usually say, "Same. They're pretty," and leave it at that. It's become constant now, and I suspect that he has a crush on me, but I've made it clear that I am not attracted to men. Out of our grad program, I am the only single woman of this ethnic background, which I think is important context. All of that makes me feel generally uncomfortable that he unpromptedly exclaims his love for women who look vaguely like me. Fast forward to last week. I met up with a friend I hadn't seen in a while. She is of a similar ethnic background. I posted her to my story, and he immediately replied, asking if she was single and tried to follow her account. I replied, "I'll never let you date one of my friends." He got very offended and of course asked why. I didn't explain my reasons. Frankly, my friends can do better and deserve better than him. Our mutual friends are telling me I am an asshole, but I don't think they realize my ethnic background ends up being half of all our conversations when it comes down to it. Nor have I shared that I actively avoid having one-on-one conversations with him. I guess they don't really have the perspective of the fetishization I feel like he is doing. So, am I the asshole? You have done nothing wrong. Having preferences is one thing, but the way he seems to fetishize your culture is a big red flag. He doesn't have to be such a weirdo about it, and knowing you're a lesbian but still trying to get with you is just the cherry on top of the it cake. Any decent friend would keep people they care about away from someone who potentially sees them as a trophy and not as a person with thoughts and feelings. This isn't collecting Pokemon cards, it's about respecting people for who they truly are. Am I the jerk for refusing to give up opportunities that come my way for my siblings' sake? My older sister Rita, who is 20 years old, is disabled. My sister's disability comes with a lot of health issues. While she is mentally capable, she struggles physically and had difficulties even with regular school. She never graduated high school because she got so sick in her senior year that it set her way back, and she didn't get the grades to graduate. She was offered the chance to repeat, but she said no because she was still really unwell afterward. This causes her a lot of distress, and she still cries because she feels like she failed in the worst way. Nobody can convince her otherwise. She doesn't work, go to school, or do anything. She stays at home and gets taken care of by our parents. I am still in school, and I am going into my senior year. There have been many discussions about college or other avenues I could pursue. I was given information about an apprenticeship that could be perfect for me, and my guidance counselor wanted me to consider it over the summer because they take high school graduates. It's exciting. Rita was very upset to hear that I had so many options. My parents expected me to think of her before making decisions. They suggested I focus on looking at community colleges only or not going to college at all, and instead getting a job in retail or the service industry. They told me I could afford my own place if I did that. I didn't get to go to camp because Rita couldn't, and my parents didn't want me to have experiences she couldn't. I wasn't allowed to participate in school plays because Rita couldn't participate in hers. My parents would stop my teachers from including me. They refused to sign a permission slip that would have allowed me to enter a competition on behalf of my school because Rita would never get to have an experience like that herself, and they didn't feel it was right for me to have it then. The permission slip came in because some travel might be involved if I were to go anywhere. They pulled me out of art classes when I was young because I was doing really well and getting a lot of praise. My parents pressured me to ask if I could leave the classes, but they pulled me out regardless. Rita would always get upset when I achieved something or got presented with a great opportunity. She'd cry and ask me why I got everything and she got nothing. I felt bad for her but also resentful because she was glad when our parents held me back. This became a fight when the college stuff came up again. My parents saw me looking up the apprenticeship and asked how I could even think about going and how selfish I was being. They said I should aim for something lower for Rita's sake. Rita heard us argue about it and said she knows I'm too selfish to give it up for her. I told them I hated them for expecting me to. Rita and my parents said I had no sense of family loyalty at all. Am I the asshole? You did nothing to deserve criticism. This sounds like emotional abuse, and you are not being selfish for wanting your own life. Your parents and sister are being selfish for denying you that. Start planning to become financially independent and talk to a school counselor about your options for paying for college. Lay low and don't share your plans with them so that you can leave without them sabotaging your future. Am I the jerk for kicking my partner out for making me uncomfortable? My boyfriend and I, both 18 years old, got into an argument earlier. We have been dating for around 7 months now. For most of our relationship, my boyfriend has been aware of the few things that really make me uncomfortable. These include kissing me after I say stop, tickling, and any gesture that includes pretend grabbing my neck. My boyfriend knows that these 3 things are very touchy for me because I really hate them. Obviously at first, I couldn't blame him for not knowing I hate being tickled and stuff like that, but now it's just out of hand. Despite how often I've said what I'm uncomfortable with, he continues to do those things and gets mad when I get upset quickly, push him off, and tell him to stop. Today he started kissing my neck, and I wasn't in the mood, so I told him to stop. He kept going at first, so I got annoyed when he didn't stop. He's also been known to literally cut me off mid-sentence and just kiss me, which I absolutely hate because I have no say in any of it, and I'm mid-sentence. Today, after this stuff happened again, I got mad and told him I wanted an apology because I felt so uncomfortable with the fact that when I ask him to stop, he doesn't. His response was, "Sorry I'm not perfect and don't remember every little thing that makes you uncomfortable, and sorry I'm not just perfect like you apparently are." I told him that isn't a fair thing to say because, first, how can you not remember when I've told you numerous times over the past 7 months? Second, in almost every incident, I tell him to stop and he doesn't. It's not like he does it and then says, "Oh, I forgot," and stops after I tell him to stop. No, every time it's "I forgot," but it doesn't even apply to most situations. If I tell you to stop and you don't, you can't just say, "Oh, I forgot." That doesn't even make sense. After he said what he said, I told him he could leave my house and that I was not interested in talking to him at the moment. He claimed that I didn't even let him talk, so I gave him another chance. What did he do? He said the same stuff again, so I told him to leave right then and that what he told me was messed up because if he seriously thinks that saying, "Well, I'm not perfect," when I tell him to stop doing things that make me uncomfortable, then he needs to self-reflect. At one point, he told me that if I had told him in a better way that those things made me uncomfortable, then things would have been better. To be clear, at the beginning, I was patient because I kind of understood, but after months of it continuing, I got not as nice, and he was trying to use that against me, which in my opinion is so unfair because I had a right to be mad. Should I be worried about my relationship, and does this seem like toxic behavior from either side? Your actions don't make you a jerk. This is really problematic, and it's clear he understands but chooses to ignore your boundaries. He's not stupid or deaf. He completely knows what you don't like. The more you physically progress, the less likely he is to stop just because you ask. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.